Hey everybody, welcome to Big Valley Living. I'm Michelle and I'm going to be sharing with you today my cancer journey so far. Okay, I have stage 4 cancer, colon cancer, and I think it's important to share my message with you. So I just wanted to do a little preface here for you. Come in and enjoy the scenery where I ended up talking in depth about it. There will be a couple of breakthrough moments where it got really windy, but please watch this to the end because I hope that this will help at least one person to know that hearing those words, you have stage 4 cancer, is not necessarily the end of the world. Okay, so let's go check it out. Hey everybody, welcome to Big Valley Living. I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about something pretty serious. I'm going to adjust my camera back a little bit. I had to find a really nice peaceful place to be, and I don't even have my speaker on, so I'm hoping that this is going to come through okay. I'm going to test it right now. Well, we're going to find out, and if it doesn't turn out, then it wasn't meant to be. How about that? So, I want to talk to you. Okay, this is going to be a long afternoon for me, and hopefully not for you. I wanted to just be somewhere in nature where it was really pretty, and I'm in a place called Trout Lake, Washington, not far from the Canadian border. We came up here for a vacation, family reunion, and a vacation, and I told JJ I really want to find just a peaceful place to talk about this. And what I'm going to talk to you guys about is cancer. And I'm going to get emotional, and once I get started I'll be okay, so bear with me. In October of 2017, I went in for a colonoscopy, and when I went in, the instructions of the day of was you're dropped off, and then we'll call your ride, which was my husband, when we're done, and he can pick you up, and then you have to go home and take it easy for a day and drink a lot of water. Okay. So it only takes like half hour, 45 minutes, so I'm getting ready to, I'm getting dressed and everything, and I thought they're going to call my husband, and, then we're going to be on our merry way. And the doctor came in and said, we need your husband to come upstairs. And so I'm like, what the heck? So he couldn't diagnose it, but, the gastroenterologists know what they see. They know what they see. And so he suspected that I had colon cancer. He said, but I think we caught it early. I think we're going to be okay. So November of 2017, I had surgery. And I had about roughly 8 inches, 8 inches of my colon removed. When I went in for surgery, we weren't sure if I was going to come out with a colostomy bag, which basically just replaces your insides. And luckily, I didn't. They call it a resection, and so, when I got out, I had to take it easy on my body. I couldn't have any meat for 6 weeks. Couldn't eat any raw vegetables or anything with seeds for 6 weeks. So luckily I like mashed potatoes and mashed sweet potatoes, and got by it pretty easy. I like soup as well, so that wasn't so bad, the diet part. Then after you have cancer, then you have to talk to doctors about treatment. And this is really what I want to kind of get into. I don't know if I'm going to go through the whole story today. I just have to get it out there, and then I can talk about it later in more detail. But I have a really good medical team, and that's one of the things I'm going to be talking to you guys about. So when I went and got surgery, I had the head of surgery for the hospital I was at, because my primary physician wanted me to have the best care, and he advocated for me. So I have the best surgeon in town, literally, where I live. And she was very positive and encouraging and just very sure. So we have the surgery, go home to heal. And if you are going to have surgery like that and you ever want to talk about it, you know, then you can drop a comment and let me know. So, had the surgery, go home. And actually, it was the week before Thanksgiving when I had the surgery done. And it was on a Thursday morning. And she told me that I'd like you to be able to go home this weekend, but there are a few things that are up to you to do. And the first thing is, after surgery, is to get up and walk as soon as you possibly can, because walking is going to help you heal, and it's going to get your body moving again. So after surgery, after recovery, and they were taking me up to my hospital room, I thought I was going to go up there and they were going to give me a few more, you know, like happy shots so that it wouldn't hurt or anything, but that wasn't the case. I went up to the room and I was immediately put on Tylenol, and my doctor said, oh, there's so many cool birds around here. I hope you can hear it. You're going to have to go in and start walking. So within an hour and a half of surgery, I took, I don't know, maybe 50 steps and walked like up a couple rooms and then came back. And I continued to walk every hour. Now, mind you, this is a Thursday, so it's about Thursday afternoon at about 3 o'clock. So one of the things you have to do is to be able to go to the bathroom or pass gas or something. And so I remember about 2:30 in the morning, I passed gas and I typed it in a note to myself so I could report it to the doctor. And actually the next afternoon, I was home by 6 o'clock, or the next evening. So I was in the hospital for 36 hours. They give you this thing to put around your stomach it's like a girdle that just kind of keeps everything from being stiff, and you have to learn how to get in and out of bed and on and off of a couch for a while because your body is totally different, and that's pretty major surgery. So I was doing really super well, and I was still intact, which made me very happy. More than anything, I was really happy to be alive and have a good prognosis. So, fast forward a few weeks, I have to go meet with an oncologist to come up with a plan and talk about whatever the pathology report was. Sorry guys, quick change of scenery, and then we'll go back to that beautiful place that we were at Trout Lake, Washington. The wind just got really bad for a minute, and this is very important. So, we went to the oncologist that was in our system, and it just was not a good situation, okay? I didn't have confidence that she was going to be a good partner with me. I think that she was just going to tell us what we were going to do. There was not going to be a partnership. And my husband got the same impression. She walked in, she says, you have stage 2 cancer, and here's what you're going to do. I couldn't even get a question in, so we just decided, hey, we're going to go back and get the name of the oncologist that my surgeon had originally recommended. And went back to my primary physician, and he made the referral so that I could go see the second oncologist. I honestly believe that that decision and meeting the second oncologist is why I am still here today to tell the story. He is wonderful, he's professional, he's kind, and he tells you what your options are. He explains what you might be looking at, side effects, possible long-term effects, and things like that. So my message is if you don't have confidence that your medical team is there to do the right thing by you, or that you just don't have a good rapport with them. Understand that this is not going to just be for a few months, okay? You need somebody who's going to be on your side for life, and hopefully that person is going to work with you to make all the best decisions that will be in your best interest. So, we went to the second oncologist. He's fabulous. I see him to this day, and I cannot tell you enough to be your own advocate, okay? Or your family member's advocate. Another thing that this doctor lets me do, because you get a little, when they say chemo brain, there's such a thing as chemo brain, and you get forgetful. That's probably the most unnerving part. So he lets me record him on my phone so that when I go home, if I have any questions about what he said, I can listen to it again. If you don't have a doctor who will allow you to do something like that to help yourself remember what you need to know and make these decisions, I'd turn around and go find another doctor real quickly. So now we're going to go back. He was able to assure me that, you know, I would always have choices and he would always explain them thoroughly, and he has held true to his word the whole time. So I had that surgery, then I went on chemotherapy, and I was using pills. I think that, well, I know the brand name is Xeloda. And so it's in a pill form. So I did that for 6 months. Got really tired. I worked almost the whole time, and I was really, really tired at the end of it. Retaining water. There are different side effects for different people, but I kept in touch with my doctor. You get your blood tested a lot too, to make sure that you're not sick, you're not catching anything, and that you have enough like white blood cells versus red blood cells. Your red blood cells can change shape, and that can change how the oxygen is delivered in your body. I hope you guys can see all the birds and wildlife around me here, because this is just amazing. So anyway, we go through the chemotherapy and everything, and then I don't know, about a year and a half later, you know, you get regular CAT scans and things. So about a year and a half later, they found a spot in an ovary, and they were like, we'll just keep an eye on that. So they keep an eye on it, and it started growing, and then, you know, it started out like, I don't know, like a pea, a small pea, and then within, that was in like May. By October of that year, it was like an elongated, maybe softball. It was pretty big. It was much bigger than a female human ovary, I can tell you that. So I went in and had a hysterectomy, a full hysterectomy, because I was beyond childbearing age, so it didn't bother me to do that. And then the treatment for that was going to be more aggressive, because it wasn't an actual offshoot of colon cancer, which was my original diagnosis. My doctor said, this is really odd that this would happen, because that's not a normal course of how colon cancer would spread. Okay, so what do we do? So I go in the day the hospital is going to shut down putting in catheters and ports for people who need cancer treatment, and because COVID had hit. And so that I was the last person to go in and get a port. And so I can kind of show you. You can kind of see like a kind of a bump right there on my chest. That's it's a portacath, and so that's so that when you're going to get infusions, versus like the pill chemo, you go in, and you know, not too long ago, 15, 20 years ago, you actually had to go to the hospital for a few days for this sort of treatment. Now you can go in and they administer your medication, whatever your doctor prescribes. You're in there for about 3 to 6 hours. And then in my case, I went home with a sling, and and it was attached to my port. And it was filled with the final chemo of every round. And that was, I think, full fury. It's 4FU, and a lot of colon cancer treatments that's kind of a basic thing. And actually, down, take an extra long nap, but then at a certain point I got to a point where I was too tired and too weak to be sitting there and being on camera for, you know, Zoom meetings and stuff. So I did take some time off after that and let my body do what it needed to do and recover. My appetite was a little bit different, and you can't really plan a lot, like going out to dinner or going out to lunch, because your body changes when you've had surgery like that, and it's an adjustment because you have to go to the bathroom sometimes on demand. You don't have as much control as you used to. But I didn't throw up or anything, and that was cool because I'm one of those weird people who are afraid to throw up. So went through that. Then, you know, you go through PET scans, which is a more intense image, and it gets a better view of what's going on. And there was like a little shadow on my spine, and so we said, okay, let's just keep an eye on it. Went in for another colonoscopy so I could see if they could get to it. At this point, I'm not really thinking about what stage I was. I really didn't. I knew I had been stage 2, and that's just in my mind, that's where I was, stage 2 cancer. So I have this shadow on my spine, and it started to get a little bit bigger, and it wasn't on my spine, I should say. It was on the outer lining of like your spinal cord, so it hadn't penetrated or anything like that. So we kept an eye on it for about 9 months, and it started to get a little bit bigger. So January, the year after I had had my hysterectomy, I went in and met with a doctor and my surgeon. I met with my surgeon first, the original surgeon, who has always been the gal who's taken care of me. And she looked at the images, and she is very capable. And she called me in for a doctor appointment, and she said, you know, I don't feel comfortable doing this because this is so close to your spine. This could be life-altering in a really bad way if anything happened. I mean, it would just take a sneeze and your life would be radically changed, and I don't feel comfortable doing it, so I'm going to send you to a specialist. So I go to the specialist, and he looks at it, and I'm ready to go in for surgery, get this sucker out of me, right? Get it away. So we talked to him, and he said, this is so dangerous for anybody to attempt. He goes, and I'm not going to let pride get in the way. He said, I'd really like to try doing radiation and chemotherapy combined. So we did that. That was round number 3. Okay, so we did radiation and chemotherapy. That was probably the closest I ever wanted to really get sick to my stomach. But there's a lot of really good medication out there, and that's thing number 2. Find the right medication for nausea and stuff like that. Work with your doctor and stay ahead of it. Don't get yourself to a point where you're so sick that you can't stand it, because then it's going to be hard to get ahead of being sick. And allow yourself to rest, because radiation is, it's tough. And you don't really think about that because you're laying in a machine and they're zapping you in a certain part of your body, you know, and you just don't realize it, but it just takes a lot out of you. So we get through that, and the spot goes away. very successful. Okay, so now we're into 2022, and there's a spot on, I'm not going to get into a bunch of medical terms, okay, but there was a spot in the lining. I'm going to adjust where I'm sitting here, and I'm going to let you see more of this pretty lake behind me. The sun's going to be in my eyes, but it's probably better than it being on the camera. Okay, so I go in, and there's a spot. It's about the size of a pea again. That was in May again. And by October and November, that spot had grown to being about the size of a baseball. So that needs to go. And it's not in a major organ. So my choices were wait and see what happens. Since it's growing rapidly, that in my mind was not an option. Option 2 was to take the Xeloda pills again for 6 months. And option 3 was to change one medication in the infusion and for another one, swap them out, and then still get the other 4 or 5 that I was getting, and do the infusion. Now this time I would probably be losing my hair. I probably would be really ran down from it. And as much as I hated taking the pills, my husband and I talked about the fact that it wasn't in a major organ, right? And so every time you change with the really strong chemo, it's going to have to be stronger and stronger and stronger every time. Had it been in a major organ, I would have definitely probably gone for it. I mean, I don't think there's really any question in my mind, but it wasn't. So I'm like, well, let's do the surgery and let's do the Xeloda again. So that's where I'm at right now. I started in February on President's Day. I started taking this, and I should be done near the mid to late August on this medication. I want to show you. Now, my hair's a mess because it's really hot. We've been driving around and camping and stuff, but I've got my hair, I've got my curls. I'm living a fairly normal life. Now, what I did do was take time off work this time. My whole family, my extended family, said, you know, just let your body do what it needs to do. And I am fortunate, and I have a job that allows me to do that, and I have people who support me, and so I didn't want to negatively impact our home finances. So anyway, you know, I had a good setup, and I'm really very grateful for that. So here I am, okay, I am 1 week into what is the last 2 rounds of this particular treatment. I am a little bit tired. I have to take naps and stuff, but I just had a wonderful weekend with 70 of my wonderful relatives. Got to spend time with our grandchildren. We made cards and stuff, and I won a horseshoe tournament for the 4th time. Now, this whole time I've been going through chemotherapy, we go to these family reunions and we have a horseshoe tournament, and when you're the #1 team, you get to keep your teammate. And so we just won for the 4th time, and I really didn't expect that to happen, so it was really cool. And I'll do an overlay of the trophy I get, because we get to take it home until the next reunion. So that was kind of fun. But what I really want to tell you guys is that if you get a diagnosis like this, I think the most important thing you can do, besides advocating for yourself, #1, advocate for yourself. #2 is getting on top of that medication and making sure that you're consistent and open and honest with your doctor. This time I have more energy. I think two reasons. One, I'm not working full time and trying to, you know, maintain my household and work and everything else. And my husband is also a great partner and a great help. I cannot tell you what it's like to have a support network like I have. And it's not just my husband, but you know, his family, my brother and sister-in-law, and just everybody around me, my neighbors, everybody, they're all willing to help. The people I work with are awesome. And so it's really good to surround yourself with people who care about you and respect you and will do anything for you. It's going to make me cry just because people are so kind. But the biggest thing is every day when you wake up, every day when you wake up, enjoy everything around you. Even if you hurt, enjoy, embrace the pain, because you only have one life, and you have a choice every day when you wake up to be happy and to be positive. And I'm crying, and this was more like tears of joy and gratefulness. But I do have a good attitude, and a lot of people are like, you don't look like you have cancer. And this last time, this is really going to make me cry. When we were, before the surgery, before the last surgery, and before it looked like I was going to have surgery, I asked my doctor when I would get my port taken out. And by the way, I have named my port, and his name is Herbert Birdsfoot, which is a character from Sesame Street in the 60s. But it's nice for him to have a name, because I can refer to him as a thing, as a helper. And he's been faithful and very dutiful. Anyway, wake up every day with a positive attitude and look at things from a positive perspective, and you will see things in a different light. I'm actually going to show you this. Look at this, where I'm at. I've got lily pads, and this place is really remote, you guys. Really, really remote. Look at that. I'm just going to take you and show you a 360 before you come back to me. And I'm not saying to be Pollyanna, but I kind of am. We do this YouTube channel because I wanted to make sure that we preserved family recipes and things. This is initially why we started, to preserve family recipes for our grandchildren. And I think I need to back up a little bit. I want to be close enough for you to hear me and far enough to see my whole head when I edit this. I might not edit it, I might just let it go. But there's a good side and there's a bad side, right, of everything. And choose the good. Choose the good. You're not going to feel good all the time, but nobody feels good all the time. You're not going to be in a good mood all the time. Nobody's in a good mood all the time. Without sadness, you'd really never know joy. Without pain, you would never know what it feels like to be healthy, because you wouldn't know any different. So take those things that happen and think to yourself, that's a really good lesson. It's okay. It's okay. And if you're having a bad day, have that bad day. Put on some music that makes you feel better. Put on some music that makes you cry and get it out of your system. Put on a movie that makes you cry. Put on a movie that makes you laugh. Whatever you need to do. Do a puzzle. Read a book. Learn how to crochet. I still cook every day. My husband cooks twice a week for me now. That's pretty cool. But I was always the person who cooks, so I still cook. And so I'm going to carry on my life as normally as I possibly can. And I encourage you to do the same. I'm thinking that, maybe once in a while I'll probably give you guys an update. A lot of my YouTube friends do know that I'm going through this, and I just love them because they're like, I just can't believe that you're going through cancer. Whoa. And I told my doctor this when I had my last surgery. I said, because I always start chemo sometime around January or February every other year. I said, some people get bronchitis every December, and they get their antibiotics, they take them, and then they're fine for a year. I said, I get cancer every couple of years. I take my chemo, I get another couple of years. And every couple of years, the medicine can change and get better, and I can change my diet, and I can change my exercise routine. And, maybe I won't end up getting another thing. I'm looking forward to not getting cancer again. And, but if I do, I know that it's not the end of the world. So if you have been diagnosed, or if your family member has been diagnosed, it is scary. But I've been living with stage 4 cancer, and I mean living with stage 4 cancer, not crawling away. And it's been about a year and a half since I heard those words. And I used to hear stage 4 cancer. I'm like, oh, that person's probably laying in bed and on hospice. Not the truth, not for me. And I don't want it to be that way for you. So again, this is my message, and this is, you know, my story, I guess. And I'm really glad that I'm finally getting it out there. Now the question is, will I release it, or will this just be something that made me feel better to say? I'm not sure yet. So you may see this, you may not. But I want you all to take this message and just know that when you wake up every morning, you do have a choice to be positive or negative. Please be positive. And if you can't, you know, if you're not in a good mood or something, don't take somebody else down. Don't take somebody else and pull them down. Just don't do that. When I say be kind at the end of every single one of our videos, I truly mean it. I've always been that way. I do not like meanness, nastiness, backbiting, or anything like that. There's no place for that in this beautiful world. There's no place for that in your life, my life, anybody else's life. Try and do, like, live by the golden rule. Do to others as you would have done to you. So be nice. And if you have any questions or anything, you can drop a comment. You know, you can send me an email. My email is bigvalleyliving@gmail.com. It's on our YouTube page. And, you know, I'd be happy to be a sounding board for you. And everybody's treatment, everybody's diagnosis, everything's different, okay? But my main message is to just keep positive, keep the spirit, and see the beauty around you, because it's everywhere, everywhere. It's beautiful. Life is beautiful. So I think that's it. I actually got through this. Might have a couple tears in there, but hey, you know, it's life. I hope you all have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions. And every now and again you'll get an update, because it will be out there, and I won't have to, like, you know, power through it like nothing's going on, because sometimes I just don't feel good. And I look more tired when I'm on chemo. I know that I've been watching the videos over the past few months, so anyway, it's okay to be that way too. So I'm going to leave you with some more of this really pretty area around here. I am so glad that my husband found this lake, and actually his cousin told us about it, and he said, you got to go up there and check it out. And as soon as we started driving up here, I knew this was the place that I wanted to share the story with you. Look at that, it's just so beautiful. Okay, you know what? The other day I forgot one thing, and this is an important part that I'm going to add to the end. If people want to help you, take the help. Accept the help. Think about how you feel when you feel like you want to help a friend or a family member, and you don't really know what to do because you're not going through their situation. Think about how good you would feel being able to give to them and help them. And just be gracious, right? Give yourself grace and embrace the grace that you give yourself. Allow people to help you, because it will make them feel better as well. That's definitely the end of my message for this, okay? But take care of yourselves, take care of others, and be kind to yourself. Above all, just be kind. Please like, share, and subscribe, and share this with family and friends, because we're all going to go through something at some point. See you later, everybody. Be kind.